Sister Carol Keehan is a member of the Daughters of Charity of St. Vincent de Paul, and she is CEO of the Catholic Health Association of the USA, 620 hospitals affiliated with CHA. She's also been named one of Time magazine's 100 most influential people in the world, which, well, with that as an introduction, ladies and gentlemen, Sister Carol.
Thank you, Jamie, very much. First of all, let me say, don't get too excited about Time magazine until you look about the rest of the 100 most influential people. It's me, Lady Gaga, a few dictators. It is not the communion of saints. It really is a joy to be here with you, and I can't tell you how impressed I was by the two physicians and their work. I also want to say good morning, Mona. I am so grateful to you for your example, your determination, and your leadership, but especially for your friendship. I think that the title of this is so really incredible and really so on point, the importance of hope. About 50 years ago, the Catholic Church had the Vatican Council. Some people think it's the worst thing we ever did. Some people think it's the best. That's our church for you. But one of the things that I think they hit on to perfection in the trying to think about the church as in the modern world. The document they wrote on the church in the modern world, or Gaudium et Spes, one area they talked about was what was our responsibility in what they called the mystery of death. And I thought they raised the question of the importance of hope so perfectly. They said, it is in the face of death that the riddle of human existence becomes most acute. The riddle of human existence becomes most acute. Not only is man tormented by pain and by the advancing deterioration of his body, but even more so by a dread of perpetual extinction. That really, for so many people facing death, and those of us who maybe not have it quite so close, it is shattering. What next? And the church said very clearly then that deep in the heart of people is that kernel of faith, that kernel of believing, that kernel of God's life that says he rightly follows the intuition of his heart when he abhors and repudiates the absolute ruin and total disappearance of his own person. And that, I think, is the importance of understanding why hope is so critical. The thought of being a total annihilation or total extinction, to never see the people we have loved again, to never see the God we have loved and longed to see. One of our older sisters who lived to be 98 and was a character in so many ways, put on her memorial card, "Be happy for me. I have joined the God I love. This is truly my happiest day." And that is the sort of the monumental expression of seeing what love can really mean and what death can really mean. But you couple that with the suffering that both physicians just talked about, and I love the metaphor of the urgent to the important. The indignity, the pain, the lack of autonomy, the loneliness, the cost, the impact on our loved ones. We've made great efforts in palliative care and in our hospice programs to address those. And almost some of us believe that we have gotten so focused on that because we were trying to alleviate all the stress and worry about that in order for to combat people who think the only solution and is assisted suicide, that we have forgotten the most important, or not forgotten, but let it sort of dim. But even if we efficiently deal with the pain and the indignity and the lack of autonomy, we're still dealing with the fact that I'm at the threshold of death. And what does that mean for me? We find that unacceptable, but hard at times to firmly believe what we have prayed and sung most of our lives. We sing at so many funerals of our friends different versions of what we as Catholics know as the In Paradisium, or the Song of Farewell. We sing at these funerals. May the choirs of angels come to greet you. May they speed you to paradise. May the Lord enfold you in his mercy. May you find eternal life. If that's what we believe we are doing as we are at the funeral of someone, that changes the perspective of death. What a comfort it would be if we could shore up our faith in it a little bit firmer, but we are human. And fortunately, the Gospels are full of people that were human, and Jesus found a way to help. To be received by God, as St. Paul describes in the 1 Corinthians, getting to heaven and having what no eye has seen, no ear has heard, nor has the heart of man conceived, what God has prepared for those who love him. To think about the joy of seeing people who have died before us again. I can remember when I was not doing well with the death of my father, who I loved dearly. And all of a sudden, I remembered my father's father, who he never had the chance to love dearly, died 6 months before my dad was born. And all of a sudden it dawned on me, Daddy, you've met your dad. And it changed my whole perspective. And, you know, when we talk about those things, we come back to our faith again. And we talk about the things that we sing and hope for. We talk about the fact that we sing very frequently. I know that my Redeemer lives, the one who calls me home. I long to see God face to face, to see with my own eyes. And that is a very important thing to incorporate deeply in our spirituality. First of all, to help ourselves and our family members, but to help those we try to serve in caretaking and in the whole business of trying to be giving something, and that even when you don't have to use words, that you can give to people that we are caring for, and we can give to their family. And again, it comes to faith. And Eduardo talked about Pope Francis, and he talked about those of us who try to care for and accompany. And he said that caring for and accompanying a given patient, in caring for and accompanying a given patient, the personal and relational elements in his or her life and death, which is, after all, the last moment in life, must be given a consideration befitting human dignity. And so it's not just dealing with the urgent, but it is dealing with the important. And nobody models that better than Pope Francis. And sometimes we think, well, I don't have that much faith. But just as each of us grow in faith and have a sense of and help each other have a sense of the beauty of our life throughout our life, we're called to help each other as we get closer and closer to death, or to the death of someone we love, and to understand that, and not to worry so much about whether I don't have the firmest faith, that all I can see is eternity coming. Frankly, in every important moment of our lives, whether it was our first day in school, whether it was before a wedding, whether it was when we went off to college, or having a child, there was always that trepidation, and yet it was a glorious moment. And so we don't need to worry so much. God can take care of our faith. And I think God gives special graces to people in certain moments of their lives. Certainly, parents know that, new marriages know that. I have seen so many of those special graces, not only to the person, but to the family members. And as Jamie talked about his father and his mother, we in the faith who have the benefit of the faith tradition really have a responsibility to offer that to others and to offer it freely. We have people who come who are heavily burdened, and certainly Dr. just talked about a woman who was so heavily burdened. We have an opportunity to help people reconnect with families, to get past burdens and sorrows and falls that have been just so painful for years and years. We have the opportunity to help them have more peace, more calmness, more ability to sort out the things they want, more ability to enjoy the faith traditions of ours or of other faiths or of no faith, but the beauty of life, if they can find it in, if they can find that in the beauty of life, and that's the best window they have to God and eternity, that's the window God's given them. Let us rejoice in that window. And I think it comes down to those of us who want so much to see this kind of care and support given to everyone, not just some, that we can walk away saying, as a person's life ends, singing that song that's from an old Irish funeral prayer. "O loving God, we send your daughter or your son home to you, home to a place of everlasting love, to join there with the angel choirs and blessed saints, and to behold your glorious holy face. Receive her soul, and let her eternal light shine, eternal light forever on her soul, so she may be forever in your dwelling place, and be at rest in peace until we meet her there." That's the kind of faith that we share, and the kind of faith that we have an opportunity to share with those that we're caring for, whether we're part of a faith community, whether we're part of a hospice group, or a neighborhood, as Mona says, a book club on the Graceville exit. Thank you.